Today's program is brought to you by Vagabond Creative Studio and Grow with KLO. Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Kristin and Tina.
Good morning. Or should I say?
Yes, you should. I have no idea if you can hear me in this mask, and so
I can hear you perfectly.
Can you? Oh, maybe I'll keep it on.
The more important question is, can you drink coffee through your mask?
I cannot. No.
Mascot, no. Where did you find that?
That is so fun. I found it thrifting at Goodwill.
I'm impressed. Look at now. I don't know which way my hair is supposed to go for today. You guys don't laugh.
Oops. And actually, here we go. My little brother loves unicorns. And so when I saw that, I'm like, oh, okay.
I love it. Will he wear it?
He might. I mean, he might have some fun with it.
I actually feel like that's something you could wear grocery shopping right now and it would be okay.
Yeah, with like the snout and the horn, it definitely keeps people away.
Right.
I don't know if it classifies as a COVID mask, but
I'm guessing that fabric's pretty, deterrent. I don't know. That's probably not the right word, but
it got warm in there pretty fast. So
it did?
It did.
Maybe that's good for like being outside for trick or treating then.
Yeah. Maybe as an adult, that's a way to go out and get. Hey, let's talk about trick-or-treating. I know that the city of Manitowoc has trick-or-treating hours. Mm-hmm. How are people handling that? Like, for example, are your kids going trick-or-treating?
My kids love trick-or-treating. We will be traveling that day, so I don't know if we'll actually get to take it in or not, but we do love it. And if we make it in time, we would absolutely participate. I just think, there's something about being outside in the fall. It's usually crisp and cold at night. There's just something that is exciting about it. So, yeah.
Do they typically get excited, like about their costumes? Do they plan them ahead of time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And, some years we're like the creative, we're going to build our own costumes. Which sometimes is dreadful, right? Because you come up with ideas. And then other years it is, we're going to go buy the kit. Like a couple of years ago, Josie, she really wanted to be Wonder Woman. So I just got on Amazon and ordered a Wonder Woman costume. And then I washed my hands of it.
And then do you go with them? So do you go in costume or are you just the uncostumed adult?
I usually wear something like my fabulous fancy witch hat. Some people don't know this about me, but in my past, not so much this year, I love Halloween. We've had huge Halloween parties in the past. So I do have a lot of wigs and costumes. So I usually try to do something that, embarrasses my children just a little bit.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
How about you? Have you guys gone out traditionally?
Yeah.
For now, but
yeah, we absolutely love Halloween. It's funny. Sometimes it'll be like March and Teak will be like, you know what I want to be for Halloween this year?
That's great.
Yeah. So, and now we're right on that cusp where, he just turned 15 and he's like, Mom, I still want to go trick-or-treating. I'm like, dude, and so if he would, it's certainly got to be the last year because he's like a man showing up.
Maybe you could transition him over and have him wear that unicorn head and hand out candy. So he could still have the joy of participating at Halloween. It's just in a new role.
Right. And last year there was snow on Halloween, if you remember. And so they thought that was super cool and fun. And, as a parent, I was like, oh, God, snow on Halloween. But they were like, no, it was the best. Okay.
Yes. It is. It was really fun. I do remember it being very cold. Like, here, put your snow pants and your boots on under your costume. Let's see if we can make this work. But it's fun.
Yeah. So viewers, let us know your thoughts on Halloween this year. And if you're at home, how are you planning to participate? Are you, setting up like a table or a bowl that's self-serve? Are you letting people come to the door? Are you just turning your light off and not participating? It'd be super interesting to hear how everyone is handling it this year.
Right. Yeah. So Manitowoc's kind of always had this tradition of lights on, come up and, ring the bell or knock on the door. And if the light's off, then they're not participating. I think that, this year is no different and that MO still works really well and it gives people the choice to get out there or to not get out there. So
Yeah. And so this is Coffee with Kristin and Tina. So Kristin, you said you are in the Halloween spirit today. I'm just going to put up this image.
Yes. So I purchased this coffee when we were up in Door County. It's called Death's Door. It's one of the darkest brews that Door County coffee has. And it's really like almost nutty and delicious.
Death's Door.
Wired today from
And it's not an espresso. It's just a regular brewed coffee.
A regular brewed coffee. I just have a regular coffee pot. And I am a little bit, we've never talked about this before. I like a little half and half in mine. I think you said you're black, right?
Right. Sometimes if I really want to treat myself, I'll doll it up with a little sugar and cream, but otherwise I'm skipping the calories.
Yeah. I saw it. I thought sometimes a dark, like kind of bitter brew just tastes extra good, especially in the fall. My mom is probably, if she's watching, she's probably at home going like this. Because she
doesn't like the bitter.
She doesn't like the dark. She doesn't like it that much. But yeah, so that's Door.
Very nice. Hey, so Jason was telling me apparently he experienced a Nespresso machine somewhere. One of our friends must have used a Nespresso machine. So now that's on like his Christmas wish list. I don't know anything really about a Nespresso machine. Do you, or do any of our viewers, like, would you recommend it? Is it just like a version of a Keurig? I don't really know. I just know that that's now something he keeps talking about. And I'm wondering, is it a good purchase? You know, should Santa be looking for it?
Is this like the ones that have the little cartridges?
I'm not sure.
I could do a quick Google search.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I don't know. Jason, if you're watching, come on, give us the answer, buddy.
Oh, it's the test. Is he watching?
Right. Do you guys see this? I can't help but look at this. Do you see this? I'm a 30-year-old woman with
what happened?
Pimple. Ah! Do you ever grow out of that?
I think they get less and less. I think you just get like one instead of like a whole, face full. So how are you treating it?
I'm just not. It's just there. It's just extra red, and I feel like it's ginormous today, and it's all I can look at. Like, do you guys remember the mole from Austin Powers? That's all I can. I'm like, pimple.
If you hadn't pointed it out, I'm pretty sure we would not have noticed. I did not notice.
Well, that's good. So there you go. Tell us, what do you do with your pimples? Do you still
You know what we do, Kristin, is we put the unicorn mask back on, and that just takes care of everything.
You're right. I actually think Sunday I logged some extra long mask wearing time on Sunday, and I wonder if maybe that was a little, I probably should have like put lotion and makeup on before I put that on.
So if you have some kind of astringent, I would put a little on there, like maybe if you have tea tree oil or a little witch hazel, just, a little something to, and just most importantly, don't pick at it.
A little witch hazel.
That's awesome. That's fantastic, Kristin.
I don't know what to do here. Look at what I've done now.
Oh, Tammy said, Kristin, you've been wearing a mask a lot. That could be why. So that could contribute. Oh, your hair is cool.
It feels not right. There you go.
So Kristin, I love, you were telling me that, so you're, working with the kids, right, with the homeschool, and you're talking about teaching them about emotional intelligence, which is also something that you work with your clients with, right, in your business. So I love that sort of nexus between what you do professionally as an entrepreneur and bringing it to your kids. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So I am responsible for things like social studies and history and leadership and home economics in my portion of what I teach this group of kids. So one of the things we've been working on is emotional intelligence, because when I work with adults, I feel like sometimes it's more about awareness and how am I acting and how can I kind of rewire to change that or have more awareness of what I do. And with kids, it's almost more about identifying the emotions they're having and putting words to that so they can better communicate. So we've been looking at things that have, like, one of the activities we did had 12 empty faces on, and they had to draw different emotions in each of them and label them, as an example. Or another example, the big kids had to write, like, somebody's going to a job interview, how would they feel? Somebody is going to have a birthday party, how would they feel? And they have to be able to start identifying situations that might make somebody feel a certain way. And then that will obviously progress into, like, how do we handle it? So it was really fun. Last week, the kids wrote down situations where they were afraid, happy, sad, and angry, I think it was. And a lot of the big kids wrote down their siblings' names in some of those angry or sad. So I had some good chuckles, but yeah, it's really interesting to see them work with this.
And what an important concept that you're teaching, right? By thinking about somebody else's feelings, it's really cultivating that sense of empathy, which is really a skill.
Right. So, and I think it's important too. So some of the littler kids in our group are 5 and 6 years old. And so when they get mad, they know, like, I'm angry, but they don't necessarily have the words to communicate, like, I'm feeling frustrated or I'm angry. So if we can help them figure out situations, I feel this way, and this is how it looks like, I want to hit somebody, or I'm getting mad, or I get hot, then they can start saying, when I see this happen, I'm frustrated or I'm sad. And then they can start communicating and figuring out how to handle it. So it's fun. It's so much fun.
Hulk smash.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes even the bigger kids, they're 10 and 11 and 12. And even then, sometimes, like, you just reach your breaking point. And so helping them recognize how to do something different to not have to get to that point is important.
Mm-hmm. Right. If they can channel it productively. I'm going to put up this cool graphic that you shared, Kristin.
Sure. So this is kind of some different categories. So when we look at low intelligence, we look at things like aggressive, demanding, egotistical, bossy, confrontational. And then on the flip side of that, so high emotional intelligence, now we're talking about I'm being assertive, ambitious, driving, strong-willed, and decisive. So we can recognize how that feels, or we might be able to think about people in those categories that come to mind when we think about that. And it's not that, that the high emotional intelligence individuals don't get any more or less done. I think they probably get more done because they're more successful, but their approach is just different. It feels different. So when we look at some things that are more like influential themes, like I'm easily distracted, glib, selfish, a poor listener, or impulsive. On the flip side of that, we think about warm, enthusiastic, sociable, charming, persuasive. So again, we can help move things, and it feels good when we're with people that are like that. From a change management standpoint, so this is green. We're looking at resistant to change, passiveness, unresponsive, slow, or stubborn. So you can think about, like, the kid stomping their feet and not wanting to do it. And then on the flip side, it's, patient, stable, predictable, consistent, and a good listener. And then last but not least, is this kind of, how do we get work done? And how does that come out? So on the low intelligence side, we see critical, picky, fussy, hard to please, perfectionist. And sometimes if we're working for somebody that is like that, you feel like no matter what I do, I can't quite get it right. Where on the flip side, it's like detailed, careful, meticulous, systematic, and neat. And so there's a way, again, just to be able to communicate expectations or what you need to get out of an assignment or a project, but not in a way that feels overwhelming and nitpicky, I guess. Does that make sense?
It does. It's interesting because the low emotional intelligence, a lot of those descriptive words almost seem to be more pessimistic, whereas the high emotional intelligence descriptive words seem to have more of an optimistic perspective.
Yep.
Does that seem true?
I do think that's true. And I think as we see individuals learn how to manage situations, we can turn challenging situations into things that are positive. So this kind of relates back to what we were talking about last week. So when we see abundance and we believe that there's a path, we can encourage and influence and carefully plan a path that is successful versus having that scarcity mentality. So it'd be curious to know if there's a correlation between scarcity mentality and low emotional intelligence.
Oh, interesting. So there could absolutely be an alignment with that conversation we had last week.
Right. Right.
Very cool.
Yeah. So if anybody has comments, I'd love to hear, or questions for that matter. I would love to hear if somebody has an opinion about this or if they've thought about it. So that diagram and kind of the idea of emotional intelligence, I teach adults that, and we have them take a brief assessment and figure out kind of where they are, and then go through areas where, and by the way, you're not always successful or have failures in all of those categories. Typically people are better or stronger in some areas and others they're not. So it's something that I would say should be viewed as a work in process and an evolution. It's not like, well, crap, this is who I am. How do I deal with this? It's not really that. It's something that can change over time.
When you're working with clients or other people, do you typically find that they're aware of which one of those columns they would be in? So if somebody has low emotional intelligence, are they usually in tune with that? They know that they're stubborn or picky, or do most people think that they have high emotional intelligence?
I don't know if people think of it through a lens of emotional intelligence. I think they think about it through, especially through the eyes of colleagues. They know that somebody might be difficult or complicated to work with, but they can't articulate that maybe that's the reason why. So again, it puts words to something. And once we have words and we can define what something is, then it helps us move forward with coaching or problem solving or creating a new path or a new plan. So most of the time, somebody can just recognize that something doesn't feel good or something doesn't go well, but they can't put words to why.
And so it's not just necessarily just about yourself. It's also about how you interpret other people.
Absolutely. Right? 100%. Right. And I mean, if we think about being able to listen to somebody and really internalize what they're saying and how does that affect them, and having an empathetic position towards others, that allows us to better understand them, to hear them out, and to help be more collaborative, right?
That's awesome. Okay, you asked for comments. This is not related to what we're currently talking about, but this is going back to what we were talking about. Here's what an espresso is. It's a pod-based espresso and coffee machine. Oh, so it's espresso. Interesting.
Little cups, I think.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Jason. Thanks for keying in that.
That you've known Jason, is he normally an espresso drinker, meaning I'm getting the little cup?
Not just the espresso itself, but like if he gets a coffee, he'll often have extra shots of espresso added to it to amp it up.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, I know that how powerful espresso is, but it's so small that almost like mentally it doesn't feel like it could possibly be enough.
Maybe it's like jam-packed coffee power.
And you know what? We've got another comment. I'm just going to put it up. So Reza says, my kid's school has incorporated emotional intelligence into the curriculum since 4K. It's a great way to introduce the concept. They use color zones, so kids can talk about being angry, happy, etc. in the red or green zone, etc. Yes.
Yeah, Reza, thank you for sharing that. I did know that about your kiddo's school, but I had forgot. Yeah, and actually with the little kids, they did get a coloring sheet that had the color zones on it. So it is kind of a fun way, because they got, kids love to color and doodle. And so it was a great way to integrate it. But yes, sometimes even the point of I'm angry, it's hard to say that. And they can point at a chart and say, I'm red right now. And again, it's just a tool to communicate so that they are not throwing the chair across the room. They're communicating instead. And that's important, because kids might need a break or a different activity or something else to help them be successful.
I love the concept of giving them the tools, and also even just the affirmation of, okay, I'm feeling this right now, but I'm not alone. Like, I'm not the first person to have this feeling, and other people understand that feeling. And so, by being able to express it, by having those tools, you can sort of surf through it rather than having the worst outcome.
Right. Yeah, it's good. I'm glad Risa shared that. I forgot about that.
Oh, Jason wants the milk frother.
So I have a confession. A couple of years ago, Doug bought me a Ninja coffee pot, which I will just tell you, I think brews the best regular pot of coffee around. This is my humble opinion again. Um, and it has a frother. It has half pot and full pot and travel mug sizes. It has all the things. 99% of the time, my darling husband gets up and brews me a regular half pot of regular old coffee every morning. I have never used the milk frother on the machine.
Okay, Doug, if you are watching today's episode, let's get that frother going there, buddy.
No, he's a very servant husband. He gets up and he comes home from the gym first. So he has coffee on ready. So when I walk in the door from the gym, I can grab a cup of coffee when I walk in the door. And if it's not a gym day, I usually have a cup of coffee next to my bed in the morning.
Aww.
Yes, I am very spoiled in that way. He takes very good care of my coffee needs.
I love that. You know what? Viewers, tell us, how do you get spoiled? How do you get spoiled by your partner or better half?
Yeah. So, yeah.
And so I love, Kristin, you were talking about, how like emotional intelligence, that whole concept and those tools. So that's something you do as an entrepreneur as well. And so I love how that's impacting your kids and how they're benefiting from it. Just the other day, my son, who's a sophomore now, was talking about an assignment that they have to do for school. And so he and his buddy got together and they talked about, what if we record a Zoom, so kind of like what we're doing, and then we edit it and we, each character will have like a different accent and a different like hat or costume. And he's like, so Mom, I told him I need all of these assets 1 week prior in order to edit. I'm like, oh my God. So he was like using like the exact words, that we use when we're talking about a project. And I was just like, oh my God, it just warmed my heart. Yeah. But I was also careful because he's a teen. I had to be careful not to be like, yay, right? Because then you'd be like, oh, I don't want to do it anymore. So I didn't have to be like really cool, like, oh, that's awesome, nice.
Right, you don't want him to get you don't want to be too excited about it that he thinks it's not cool anymore, right?
Right. It's that fine line.
Right. I love that. That's so cool. It's one of those things that like we're talking about teaching kids and filling in our afternoon co-op time, and I'm like, what am I going to teach? What am I going to teach? I'm not a teacher of children. I don't know what to do with them, which I know probably sounds funny, but that's just how I felt about it. And in time, I'm like, okay, I love to cook. I love to bake. I clearly have tools in the leadership department, and a lot of that can be translated over to kids. And so, why not spend a little bit of time doing that in addition to, having to get some government and history and social studies in.
Are you using the cooking and baking and incorporating math? For example, with a quarter, a little tiny witch.
Listen, you need to go out. Thank you for visiting. Have a nice day. I will be done in a minute.
So is that your witch hat or is that another witch hat?
No, that is my witch hat. They're stealing my witch hat. Let's see. Yeah, home ec some days. We haven't done it quite yet just because of how our schedule is. But there are going to be days where the kids actually come to our house and we're going to prep dinner, and like they'll get to take dinner kits home for their families. So it absolutely should be part of it. Using fine motor skills and using kitchen tools and learning how to cut safely, especially for the little kids, is important. And there's always measurement and, rations, and like there's just always things that are important. And we can talk about obviously nutrition and having a balanced diet. And there's just so many aspects of being in the kitchen together that are good for kids to learn. So we will absolutely incorporate it.
Right. And it's an awesome concept to show like, okay, 1 cup, half cup, quarter cup, to start getting those sort of mathematical concepts.
Right. Yep. Yeah. There's so many just opportunities for them to learn in the kitchen. And let's be honest, I think it's fun. I cooked with my mom growing up, and I feel like have become a talented cook and baker. And so why wouldn't I want to share that with the kids and have them, part of them learning how to be independent also includes preparing food and being able to cook and eat on their own.
Right. Because it turns out meals happen every day.
3, sometimes 4 times a day. If you have more elaborate snacks, maybe even more often than that. And I know I can think back to college thinking my best, like one of my favorite meals was a row of Ritz crackers and a Diet Coke.
Oh no, oh, God.
And I think back to that time, and I also had migraine headaches in college, and it makes a lot of sense to me why my body was like having fundamental issues working, because that is what, breakfast might look like. So I've learned and come a long way with my eating, and my hope is that obviously the girls have maybe some better habits than I had in college.
Do you still like Ritz crackers?
I do like Ritz crackers. I don't eat them as often because now, I'm trying to eat things like Triscuits and whole grains and good things, but there's nothing like a piece of Sure Makes Summer sausage with a Ritz cracker. It's just not. There's certain things that Ritz just goes with.
It's true.
I do still eat them. The other one that we eat with Ritz is cream cheese with hot pepper or hot raspberry jelly. Have you ever had that before?
Oh, that sounds delicious. Yeah, I love cream cheese with jelly on a Ritz cracker.
Right. So again, those are just something like there's no other cracker that works. It has to be Ritz. Nice. And just in case you're wondering, Tina and I do not represent Ritz or Triscuit or Sure Make sausage.
We're just here on behalf of our stomachs this morning.
Right.
And delicious knowledge, delicious approaches to knowledge.
That is correct. That is correct.
That is awesome. And Kristin, I am so excited that you're going to allow me to talk about Japanese with the kids.
Yeah. So we are doing a unit on Asia right now, which is 5 weeks long. So they're learning about all the different, many different, I shouldn't say all, we're not going to cover all the countries. Many of the countries in Asia, they get to learn about food and culture and history and just all different things. And I'm so grateful that Tina is willing to come, and I shouldn't say come, she is calling in and
zooming it in.
Yeah, you're going to share not only some Japanese language with us, but some writing with the kids. I think it'll just be such a cool experience for them.
I've been practicing my Zoom whiteboard skills. So like drawing the characters on the whiteboard, but with the mouse.
Yeah.
So
good. That I feel like that takes talent because it's really hard to successfully draw on the screen.
Yeah, the first couple of tries weren't so good, but I think we'll be good tomorrow. So,
well, just so you know, if you goof up, the kids will laugh and think it's funny, so it's no big deal.
Awesome. We'll have such a good time. Well, talking about good times, Kristin, this, like always, has been such a wonderful start to the day.
Yes.
So thankful for this conversation. So thankful to everybody that's been watching and participating and keeping us on the straight and narrow here.
Yes.
So now next week too, we should give people a heads up. You will be off next week. So it will be Jason and I having a conversation. So that will go down a whole different rabbit hole, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch. Thanks for giving me a week off. I'm looking forward to it. I can't believe I was looking back at some pictures thinking, first of all, I think we started this in February or March, probably March.
Oh yeah.
Around there. So just think about we've been doing this 8 months now almost, which is
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So thank you to everybody who's viewed and commented and liked and joined us. I think that's incredible. The other thing that came across and popped up today is I shared a year ago your open house pictures when we did appetizers and networking at Houston Studio on Franklin Street. And I know it was a little bit longer than a year ago, but where has the time gone?
Right. That was such a fun event, such a cool night. Those came up across my memories recently too. And I thought, wow, has that only been a year? But where did this year go?
Yeah, it feels like it was longer ago, but what a special moment. And I'm so excited for you guys to get in your new space and have another moment like that.
Thanks. It's really taking shape. I like the direction that it's going. I can't wait to show you once it's complete. So yeah.
All right,
awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody. Happy Halloween, everybody. And we will see you next time on Coffee with Kristin and Tina.